confused. That's why you are missing the lab day task. So you have to work every day, you have to practice every day. Let me open my SQL, whether SQL is running or not. SQL is running, no issue. And in the meanwhile, just open the Postman as well. And we have to complete hostel management application by using Spring Boot. We created the hostel management in the where it is in Hibernate, right? So we have to implement the same hostel manage application, hostel management system by using the Spring Boot and Angular as well. Okay. Okay. See here we can add the user. Okay, let me start the server in the Spring Tool. So this is our code. Okay, so you can see our code. So this is the main code, guys. This is the main method, and here we have the model. This is the model that we are going to store in the database, and here we have the DTO. This is the DTO where we are writing all the types of exceptions. All the types of data validations. Okay, and coming to the control class. Okay, we have the controller as well. In the controller we are creating two REST APIs. These are the two REST APIs that we created. One is for post, one is for get. Okay, and we implemented these methods in the service layer. In the you can see this is the service layer code. Okay, and this is the repository that we are having. Okay, and here we are handling the exceptions. Okay, we are handling the exceptions. Okay, and we are printing the messages in a one map, and that map is we are returning the map. Okay, now you can see the different validations. So here we are having the data. Okay, so I'm creating user ID as a null. Okay, I'm creating user ID as a null. Okay, so actually let me run the code. Where it is. Okay, Tomcat is started. Now you can send the data. Okay, so here you can see the messages. I'm creating my username is also null. Username is also null. Okay, and I am giving some wrong email ID. Okay, I am giving some wrong email. Okay, user email must be well formed email address. Okay, so these are the data validations. Okay, if you are not handling these issues, okay, if you are not handling this exception handling methodology, okay, see, okay, right now we are not having anything in the exception handling. Okay, just relaunch the application. Let's see what will happen. Okay, we are not handling exceptions, ma. Okay, let's see what will happen if you are not handling the exceptions. Okay, we have the same data. Now you can send the issue. Now you can see. Okay, so whenever we are sending, whenever we want to insert the data, there is some issues. Okay, start at 400, error, bad request, and the path is something. So what is meant by that? Okay, do you understand anything by seeing this particular, output? No. By seeing this error message, do you know anything what happened internally? Okay, as a developers also we are confusing what is happening, but end user doesn't know about Java, so we have to inform clearly, not like this is not the proper way to handle the exceptions. Okay, so we have to handle the perfect exceptions, then only user can understand what is happening. Okay, so here we have the exception handling. Now just relaunch the code, let's see what will happen. Okay, now you can send the data. Here you can see now we are having the perfectly well mannered errors. We are having perfectly well mannered errors. By seeing this particular error messages, user can understand, okay, username cannot be null. Okay, I will change the username. Okay, I will change the username to something like Sachin. Okay, and okay, user email must be well formed email address. Okay, there is something issue. Okay, here we have to change Sachin at anadip.org and 606. This is the phone number. Okay, and the password is Sachin123. Okay, this is the password. Okay, now you can send it. Now it is sending the data. Okay, so you can see the data in the database as well. Okay, so use the database. What is the database that you are using? I forgot. What is the name of the database? Did you remember? I don't know. Okay, user mgm. Use user mgm. Okay, now you can write the query. Okay, now you can see 124. Okay, this is how we have to insert the data and we have to validate the data. Okay, so when you are validating the data, when you are requesting the body from the data, okay, the one important annotations you have to use. If you miss this annotation, so if you miss this valid annotation, it won't work. Okay, so if you miss this valid annotation, okay, it won't validate the data. Okay, I missed the valid option. Now it is sending the data. It is sending the data. Now you can see. Okay, even if you are having the null values also, it can be inserted into the database. Okay, we are having null value in the username, still it is inserting the data. Okay, still it is inserting the data because okay, we are not using validations. Okay, so you have to use the validations when you want to validate the data, so you have to add at the rate valid annotation perfectly in the request body. So here you have to use the at the rate valid. So now you can see if we try to insert the same data. um, 7 I want to insert. Okay, let me check whether it is started or not. Okay, it is started. Now you can send it. Send. Now it is showing some issue. Okay, so by adding one annotation, okay, by adding single annotation, okay, we are validating the data. Okay, we are validating the data. So you have to understand everything clearly. Okay, if you miss the at the rate valid annotation at the request body, then you won't understand why it is not validating. Okay, definitely you have to spend at least 2 to 3 hours to figure it out. Okay, so that's why you have to take care while writing the code, while applying some methodologies to the code. Okay, so here we have the two methods, which is the get method and which is the post method. Okay, we are working with get. No, sorry, we are working with post. Now you can work with get. Okay, I want to retrieve the users. Okay, now here we are having the different types of users with us. Okay, now I want to implement. Okay, I want to implement two more REST APIs. Okay, to update the value and to delete the value. To update the value and to delete the value. Okay, to create those REST APIs, you have to help me. Okay, I don't know how to update, I don't know how to delete. You have to guide me to do that. Okay, because we already discussed the update and delete options. Okay, so you have to guide me to delete, to write the two REST APIs, which is for update and which is also for delete. Okay, guide me now how to do it. So I want to delete the delete the user from the table. So I want to create a REST API for that. Okay, so please guide me to do. Where should I write the code? What should I do? Tell me. I want to delete one user from the table. Okay, create a REST API for that. Come on, tell me. Guys, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Okay, tell me then. So I want to create a REST API to delete one user from the table. What should I do? Come on, that is a basic CRUD operations. We have a CRUD operation, creation, read, update, delete, right? So I created first two REST APIs, which is a creation and read. Now it is a time to create another two, and I want to create delete REST API as of now. Okay, so guide me to do that. Who is going? Who will guide me? Okay, we do. Okay, one person can, can guide me to design the one method in the service, and another have to guide me to write the controller. Is it okay? We needed two people to create the REST API to delete the user from the database. Come on.
So we can create a service method first,
Okay, so let me create a service method. Mhm.
which will take primary key as the argument.
Okay, so delete user. So primary key means integer, na? Int ID. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And service simply can using repository can delete by ID.
Okay. So repository dot, sorry, user delete by ID. Okay. Now tell me. Kita,
Yes, sir. Now we can return a string that the user is deleted.
okay. Return user is delete. Okay. So here we have to mention the return type. No? Okay. Hmm. Okay, so Catherine is not allowed to implement controller and is to implement controller. Come on. So Catherine, actually I have one doubt here. Okay, Ketan,
Yes, sir.
I have one doubt here. Okay, so that is, so if I pass any I okay, so if there is, I mean, for example, we are having the 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 as of now. If I pass that to, okay, it will delete the second user. Okay, the user which is having the user ID 2 is going to delete. Okay, if I press, it is going to delete the third user. Okay, something like that is going to happen. So what happen if the user is available? I mean, if I pass a 500, what will happen?
So then sir, we can use find by ID first and find if user is actually present in the database or not. Then we can
Okay,
delete the user.
okay. So tell me to do.
So create a variable, temporary variable
Okay.
user object,
Hmm.
and we can use find by ID using repository.
Find by ID. Sorry, find by
Yes.
ID. Hmm. Okay.
And if
It is fine.
u2 is not null, then we can perform delete by ID. If u2
Okay.
is not if u2 is null, then we can just simply return a
Hmm.
null message, or we can return user is not present.
Okay. Equal to not null. Then we want to do this task. Okay. Very good. Now, if else. Okay. If else. So I want to throw a new error. Okay. I want to throw an exception. Okay. So what to do now? Okay. I want to throw an exception. So actually, okay, to throw one exception, okay, we have to use one global exception for us. Okay, obviously we need to create a global exception for ourselves, right? So here, let's create another package to create the global exception. Global exception. Okay, here we can mention dot exception. Okay, that's it. And you can click on the finish. Okay, we have the class which extends the exception. Okay, so here we have to create a constructor for the class public global exception. Okay, where we can expect, okay, where we can expect one string we to, okay, return the string message to the super class in the super. Okay, so this is the global exception that we have. Okay, so we have to throw this exception when user is not existed in the database. When user is not existed in the database. So here I am throwing an exception. Throw global exception. Global exception as user not found. Okay, here we have to use a new keyword because we are throwing a new global exception and we have to import the global exception from the package. Okay, so we are throwing an exception here, so obviously we need to throw a one throws declaration to the method. We need to throw one throws declaration to the method. Okay, and it is asking us to do something. Okay, so actually we have to send one return statement here, return Okay. User is deleted. If user is registered in database, then we are updating the user and we are sending one return statement to the method. Okay, this is how you need to write the method. Now to handle this exception, okay, to handle this exception, we need to write a try catch statement somewhere, right? We need to write a try catch statement in somewhere. Okay, where to write the try catch statement? Okay, so actually we can do this. Okay, we can handle this type of exceptions in the user exception handler. Already we are having the one class where we are handling the exception, right? Okay, here we are handling the exception, right? So here we can handle the exception. Okay, so here we can implement another method as exception handler. Exception handler. Okay, what is the exception? Global exception. Global exception dot class. Okay, this is the thing. Now we have to handle this exception. Okay, and here also I want to create a map along with string messages. Okay, to print something in the okay response bar of the postman. Okay, so here handle global exception. Okay, so this particular method will take argument as a global exception. Global exception GEX. Okay, global exception GEX. So obviously we have to return one map here. So let me create the map. Okay, map which consists of two strings as a key and value. Okay, the map name is error map equal to new hash map. Okay, new hash map. Okay, so here at the last we can send this map, return error map. Okay, no, we are returning the error map, we are creating the error map. Okay, so we need to push the contents to the return, I mean that particular error map na. So here we have to use one method called put. So here we have the GEX variable, which is the global exception, right? We have the GEX variable, which is the global exception. So here we can do something. Okay, so here I can print message. Okay, error. Okay, so gex dot get message. Okay, gex dot get message. Okay, I am adding the errors to the error map and I am returning that particular error map. Okay, so we are handling the global exception here. Okay, we are handling the global exception here and we are creating the global exception in the service layer. Okay, we are creating the global exception in the service layer and we are handling them in the user exception part. Okay, here we are handling the exceptions. Now it is a time to create the controller, which is a time to create the controller for our service method. This is our service method. To work with this particular method, we need to create the controller, right? So here the controller, we need to write one REST API to do. Okay, so okay, so we want to delete. So here we can use the delete mapping slash delete. Okay, slash delete. Okay, here. Okay, we want to send a one response entity. In the response entity, we want to send a string message. Okay, we want to send string type of message from the response entity. Delete user. Okay, to delete, obviously to delete one particular user, okay, we need a id of the user and we are expecting id of the user from the path variable. So here we have to mention the id and we can read the id from the path variable. Path variable, okay, which is int id. Okay, and import the path variable. Okay, now we have to design the okay method. So here, okay, so I'm creating one string called message. which will store the return statement, okay, which will store the return statement from the delete user in the service layer. Okay, so service dot, okay, delete user, where we have to pass the id, where we have to pass the id, and this may be, this particular thing, okay, will return an error to us, right, an error to us. So here we can declare the throws exception. Okay, here we can return the throws exception. Okay, now, okay, now we need to return the response entity, right? So return the response entity, return new response entity, new response entity, where we have to pass the message along with http status code, http status dot, okay, something like, okay, this is what I want to do. Guys, remember, I am working with three methods. First, I implemented the one service layer method. Then here in the service layer method, we are returning one exception, and we are handling that exception in the user exception handler class. And we are using the service layer method in the controller. Okay, we are using the service layer method in the controller. This is our agenda. Okay, now let's try to work with this method. Okay, just relaunch the application. Okay, so here in the postman we can delete it. Okay, user slash delete, okay, slash, okay, I want to delete the sixth person from the table. Okay, let's see whether six is, yeah, we have the six, which is a null. Okay, I want to delete that six. Okay, and here I have to use the delete method, and let's try to delete the value. Okay, user is deleted. Okay, now you can see in the table, okay, see, user is deleted. Okay, so here I want to pass another value which is not existed in the database. Now let's see what will happen. Okay, I'm passing the 500. Now let's see what will happen. Okay, so again, actually, okay, it is throwing some internal server error. Okay, let's see what is happening. Okay, no class. Okay, user model, user entity with 500 existed. Okay, okay, no class, no user is existed with 500. Okay, 500, that is issue. Okay, so here we have to handle that error. So actually we are handling the error where we are missing the content somewhere. We are running something illegal. Okay, let's try to remove this global exception. Let's try to implement try catch block for this. Okay, surrounded with try catch. Okay, and here in the try also we can return the message. Okay, what happened? What to do here? Actually, it has to handle the issue, but it is not handling. Okay, let me do something. User service layer. So here we are throwing an error, and actually we are expecting, okay, whenever something is happen, so we are expecting user exception should global exception should execute, but it is not executing. What is happening? Why? No class, empty result data accession. What is happening? It has to work. Mm, okay. We got printer track trace. We'll try something, okay? And return same, we can return the null value, okay? We can return the null value, and here we can mention bad request. Bad request. Now let's try what will happen. See, actually it has to print the message, okay? But let's see. Mm, we are not expecting this, na? But somewhere we are going wrong. Delete
Sir,
method
we
user
are
delete.
giving username and user phone and everything. Sir, maybe this is the, I don't know.
This
I
one.
don't know.
No, it
No.
won't read. It won't read the request body. We are not using the request body annotation, na? If you are not using the
Okay.
request body annotation, it is not going to read. Okay, nice to see such type of errors. Okay, so we do extra knowledge to us. We some time to this. Okay. 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 Uh, in the service layer, okay, we can do one thing. Okay. Okay. Don't use the optional. Okay. So here, find. Okay. Find one. Find optional. Okay. Find one. Then it need an optional user. Okay. Okay. Let me check. See, when we are practicing, na, we are getting these things. We will get errors. We have to solve it ourselves. Then we will get some new things. See, still it is bothering me. Mm, same error. Okay. So we want to raise global exception whenever user is not found, but it is raising some issue which is needed. Okay, so guys, give me one moment. I'll try to find this. Again, we need a Google. Mm-hmm. Twitter. Okay. Somewhere we are missing.
So maybe we need to use response status.
Response status, huh? Response status. Already we mentioned it. It is a globally can work. It's asking. So what is the response? Okay, internal server error. We are getting. Huh? Okay, let me add. Okay, let's try add this. It's dot. Okay, we'll try to revenge. Okay, I hope it will work. No. Internal server error only we are defining in the response status now. But still, global exception only na. But somewhere around in the service layer we have to write something, I think so. I'm thinking that let me check this documentation. Hmm. Let's give me 2 minutes. Try to do this.
Sir, and we will take null, sir, in the
Hmm.
message
Inga.
in client cache block. We take in cache block null, null
Hmm.
comma HTTP status. We take message.
So here, okay, actually we are getting the one message, one string message on the delete user, na.
Yes, sir.
So this message we are getting, na. So that's why. So if we got the message now, so I'm printing that. But if we have any issue now, so I'm sending the null expense. I mean null value. That's it. Hmm. Somewhere around we are messing up. Very. I mean, I think there is issue with very small thing. Hmm. What is happening? I think in the controller we have to change something. Okay, so can you search for something like, without using the throw, I mean, try catch blocks and the throw as well? Shall we handle the method? We do that. Okay, but is somewhere it is showing the issue. Where it is? Definitely we need to send.
I think, sir, we have to check entire deleting user code again once again.
Deleting the user code. Huh? Actually, I think everything is clear in the service layer, but somewhere around the controller, I am messing up few things. Okay, we can do one thing in the service layer. Let's try something new. Okay, so let's try to return some user. Okay, let's try to return the user who is going to delete only. Okay, return user dot repo dot delete by id. Okay, directly we can delete it. Directly we can delete this. Delete by id. And remove this. Why it is showing error? Cannot return. I think we can return this. No. What to do? What to do? What to do? So there some variable then. What is the return type of delete? Okay, the return type of the delete is void. Okay, do we have any delete option? Mm, okay, so actually in the repository now we can implement one method. Okay, so where is this repository? So here we can implement one method for ourselves. I forgot the syntax also, man. Did you remember the syntax of the repository method? I forgot. Mm, user delete by user ID. I think so. Where we have to pass. Let's try to use this method. Dot get the user ID, which shall return the ID. Return the void result. Okay, I think it's done. So I'm deleting by using the user ID in the user method. Okay. So okay, we can do this now. Now here in the response entity, we can return the user and we can call this method in the response entity only. Here only we can pass it. Let's see where it will work. I think so. Without any, oh, we got an issue. Oh, error in creating the bean user controller, unsatisfied dependency through the service in the user service. Unsatisfied in creating the bean for user service. Did I miss off anything in the service layer? Did I remove anything? Oh. Okay, we can do one thing. Okay, remove all this stuff, all this messy, remove it. Okay, basic things we can do, then we can improve this concept. Okay, so in the service layer, remove all the stuff. Okay, just delete the user. What can I do? So user repository dot delete user entity by user entity by ID. Okay, just delete the ID. That's it. Okay, and return one message, basic message. Okay, string. Sorry. Deleted. Then here we can return type of message. Okay, so that we can implement them here. So return new entity. So here we can consume the method of the service layer, delete user, where we can pass the method, and here we can mention the HTTP status. Okay. Accepted or something. Okay, okay, just try to do this. Again we are getting the issue. What is this issue? Could not create a query for public the user repository message. I wrote the some code. this is causing some issue. Okay. Okay. Now delete the user. Okay, fine. Delete the fifth one. Okay, deleted. Okay, as of now, just keep it simple. Okay, so we can add update method as well. Okay, as of now, just I mean make it simple. Okay, so I can raise some issues later. Okay, I'll try to do myself. Then I'll explain. Okay, chalo. This global exception is not calling. That's why we are facing some issues. Okay, fine. So now let's create another method to update the value. Okay, public user, update user. I think you will be small u. So here we can update the user. We can update the user. So here also I want to do the same thing. Okay, I'm not expecting the user object. I'm expecting the user DTU object to perform the data validations. Okay, so the same thing which we are written here. Okay, so just copy and paste it. I already mentioned na. So to add and to update the value, to save the value, we have to use the save method only, because okay, in the Spring Boot, okay, save method is going to work as both save and update. Okay, so that's why I'm using the same syntax here. Okay, and in the controller, okay, we have to write the same syntax. Okay, then this, but we have to add some different method, that is a put mapping we have to add. In this place of post mapping, we have to use the put mapping. Okay, update user and import the put mapping. Okay, okay, done. Now relaunch the application. Let's update the values. Okay, actually we are having 4 na. Okay, I want to do something. I think I forgot to change the mapping value also. Update, that's it. So I just changed the mapping value, user slash update, and here okay, Sachin. Here actually in the database we are having the Sachin, Antava and Bhaskarana. So I want to change the password of the Sachin. That means I want to update the value. So Sachin ID is 4. Okay, Sachin must be in double quotes. And password, okay, phone number and same thing. Password I'm going to update Sachin143. Okay. Method not available, user update. Okay, sorry. We have to use the put method here. Put mapping we have to use. Okay, we got it. Now let's update. Let's see in the database. Okay, in the database, actually initially the password for Sachin is 123. Now we are having Sachin 143. Okay, let's make it as a simple. Okay, so I'm not adding any user validations or something here. Okay, so here you can see. Okay, so give me few minutes. So actually take a break for 15 minutes. Okay, after coming from the break, we can try to implement the exception handling in this method. Okay, so I have to refer something. Okay, I'll try to refer something. Okay, we can figure it out after coming from the break. Okay, in the meanwhile, I will update the code in GitHub. You can review it. Created APIs. Push minus F origin master. Okay, so today, by the end of the day, definitely we have to add exception handling to this method. Okay, that's our agenda. We can add it by at any cost. Okay, so you're already having the GitHub links in your WhatsApp groups. Please refer the same GitHub link. Okay, so please review the code if you are having any issues. Okay, we can discuss after the break. And in the meanwhile, I'll try to refer something. Okay, chalo. Have a break for 15 minutes. Come back at 11:45. To delete the fifth user which is not existed in the database. Okay, now let's see what will happen. Okay, now we are getting the empty because we are getting the empty value because we are returning the null value when we try to delete the user which is not exist. Okay, we are returning the null value when we try to return the user which is not existed in the database. Okay, just give me a minute. Sir, good morning. Manolla sir, please. Sorry, so here I want to throw an exception. Throw no global exception. Global exception. Okay, so which is user not existed or user not found. Simply you can mention user not found in the database and semicolon. That's it. Okay, so obviously we are throwing the new error na, we are throwing the exception na. So here we have to declare the throw statement for sure. Okay, here we have to discuss the obviously the throw statement. Okay, now in the controller, okay, so we need to we need to mention the throws declaration. Okay, this is the throws declaration that we need to mention. Okay, yeah, okay, so I hope it's clear. Okay, so we are throwing an exception. Okay, that's why we mentioned the throws declaration here. In the controller also we mentioned the throws global exception. Okay, and we are handling this exception in this particular part. We are handling the this exception in this particular part. Okay, this is the way. Okay, now let's insert the data. Now let's write. Sorry, actually we need to relaunch the application now. Just relaunch the application. Let's see what will happen. Okay, now I want to delete again. We got it. Okay, you can see. Okay, error user not found. Okay, because here in the exception here in the exception you can see. Okay, here in the exception I am mentioning error along with message. Okay, if I rename it to this as a exception, okay, which is something exception. Now you can see, just relaunch the application. Okay, done. Now here you can send the issue. Now we are getting an exception which is user not found. Okay, this is what we are expecting, right? So actually we did the same thing earlier also. Okay, in the controller we throw the exception, in the service we did the same thing, but the thing which we missed is, okay, we missed it to write this query. That's it. Okay, we missed it to write we forgot to write this query. Okay, this query is doing all the illegal things. Okay, because of this query, okay, we are getting the error. Okay, now I just added the query. Okay, and we did the same thing which we wrote earlier. Okay, you can see, first of all, we are finding the user based on the user id. If we found the user, okay, we are going to delete the user, and if we didn't find the user, we are going to throw an exception. Okay, we are going to throw an exception. Okay, when we are throwing the exception from the service layer, obviously we have to add the exception in the controller also. That's why here also I declared the exception. Okay, that's it. That's simple it is. Okay, got it, boys and girls? Is this okay? Can I get a clarification? Is this okay or is this confusion? Can I delete everything? Can I rewrite it? Hello.
Yes, sir. Clear.
What about others? Guys, Ganesha, Yogesh, Sahana, Renu, Shika, Priyanshu, is this clear? Just take a look at everything. Okay, this is the controller. Okay, and this is the service layer code, business layer or service layer, we can say it as. Okay, and here is a repository code where we are finding the user by user id. Okay, we are finding the user by user id. Actually, you will get on doubt. Okay, that is, okay, we can directly find a user by id na. You can directly mention find user find by id, right? Okay, we can do this. But okay, whenever you are finding the based on the user by id, okay, when you are using the existed method of the jpa repository, we are not getting the user details. We are not getting the user details. So that's why I created one method in the repository which is user defined method. So I want to delete the user based on the user id only, so which is the our own method. Okay, our own native query it is. Okay, so that's why I'm using our own method to retrieve the user details. If we are failed to retrieve the user details, that means if u2 equal to null, then we are going to throw an exception which is a global exception as user not found. Okay, and obviously whenever one global exception, okay, whenever one global exception is occurred, okay, we are handling them in the exception handler of our class. Okay, we are having the exception handler in the project, and okay, based on that exception handler, okay, we are going to validate the thing. Okay, is this clear? See guys, this is a real-time project. Okay, it is a kind of a real-time project. Okay, we are using everything which is used in the real-time application. We are creating the application in real-time manner. Okay, it is the real-time application architecture. So you have to clear about this. If you are having any issue, okay, please tell me, or please let me know. I mean, in the screenshots or in the WhatsApp or anything. Okay, so we are going to discuss, because it is very 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 important. Even I am having the 2 years of experience in the Spring Boot. Now you can see. Okay, I am, I am unable to find the issue. Okay, after searching in the Google, after searching some Stack Overflows, okay, I got to know as I forgot the query. Okay, I think in the break na, so I searched more than 5 stack overflow questions. Okay, there, then I got the point at as I missed the query in the user repository. That's why, okay, I am unable to get it. Okay, I just tried to add, query, and it is working. Now you can see the result. Actually, whenever we are practicing it na, whenever we are practicing it, you will get more knowledge. Okay, if you followed the content which I told by me, okay, so definitely you will you will end up with the messy in your head. Okay, listening of the class doesn't make you anything. You have to practice. Okay, so this is the exception handler class where we are handling the exception, global exception. You can see. Okay, we are handling the global exception, and in the controller, okay, this is the delete method. Okay, where we are having the controller. Okay, and this is the service layer. Okay, and this is the repository. Okay, yes, and here I want to add one more method. Okay, I want to add one more one more REST API to retrieve the user based on the user ID, to retrieve the user based on the user ID. Okay, so how to do it? So okay, you know how to how to find the user by user ID. Okay, so can you tell me how to find the user ID? How to find the user based on the user ID? Let me write the code. So here I am going to write a new method which returns the user, okay, based on the user ID. Get user, okay, based on the user ID. Okay, so obviously user 21 equal to, okay, so user report dot, okay, obviously we are already have a method na, find by user ID method. So find by user ID method. Okay, if u1 not equal to null, if u1 not equal to null, then okay, we can return the user, we can simply return the user u1. Okay, else if u1 is null, that means user is not found with the specific ID, then I want to raise one exception as throw new global exception. Okay, user not found, user not found with user ID, okay, given by you. Okay, so here we can, obviously we are raising a global exception na, so we can throw the exception here. Okay, now while consume this method we have to, okay, again we have to throws the declaration, throws the global exception. So obviously here we are using the get mapping value, get mapping, get mapping, okay, slash um, get user, or here we can simply mention the ID. Okay, here we can simply mention the ID. Okay, so public, okay, response entity, okay, I want to return the response entity with user, okay, get user. Okay, so here we have to read the path variable for sure, path variable int ID. Okay, so obviously we have to return some new response entity. Okay, service dot sorry, we have to write this in the parenthesis here, service dot get user. Okay, service dot get user dot, sorry, http status dot. Okay, okay, now so this get user method is returning some issue, some returning some exception, so that's why we need to declare the throws declaration here. Okay, we need to, okay, declare the throws declaration. Okay, just relaunch the application now. Okay, so now go back to our postman. Here just remove the everything. Just I want to see the first user. I want to see the first user. Okay, again I'm using the get method. Now you can enter. Okay, so we got the first user as Bhaskara. Okay, now I want to retrieve the 10th user from the database which is not existed exactly. Okay, now you can see we are getting the exception as user not found with user id 10, user not found with user id 10. This is how we need to create the exception. Okay, so this message, okay, this message created in the service layer of the our project. You can see here. Okay, so here we are creating a message and here we are handling that particular error message. Okay, in the error handler we are handling the message. Okay, so this is how we need to add the exceptions. Okay, data validations and exception handling in the Spring Boot. Okay, so yes, we did something, so just add some comments, some good comments. Handling that exceptions of data validations, handling exceptions of data validations. Here handling role exception raised in service layer, service layer. Okay, and let's write some comments in the service layer as well. Dependency injection for repository. Mm, Adding the new user which satisfies satisfies user validation. Okay, now retrieving all the users, deleting the already registered user. If user is not existed, okay, we are throwing global exception. We are throwing global exception if user is not existed in the database. Okay, creating the user details, saving details of specific user. We are retrieving the details of specific user, and in the repository also user defined query to retrieve user based on user ID. Okay, this is what we need. Okay, so and here in the controller also just write some comments. Okay, because why I'm writing the comments is, okay, so I'm going to create some documentation and I'm going to add Swagger. Okay, I'm going to add the Swagger. Okay, so our next concept is Swagger. I'll let you know what is meant by the Swagger. Okay, just wait. Dependency injection for service layer, adding user to db, retrieving user from db. retrieving all users from DB. Okay. Deleting user from DB. Okay, here also setting user details. Having specific the details. That's it. Okay, so we added all the queries and the comments and everything we have added. Okay, and why optional? We don't need optional. Okay, okay, so everything is clear now. Guys, take a look on everything that we created. So the first of all, we started with the adding. Okay, so add the new user to the DB. So that's why we have created a post mapping. Okay, so post mapping value here. Okay, so in this particular thing, okay, so we are calling the add user method in the service layer. So in the add user, in the add user method in the service, okay, we are converting the user DTO object to user object. Okay, we converted the user DTO object to user object, and we saved the user object in the database. Okay, and in the service layer we are having the another method to add the to retrieve the all the user from the database. Okay, and here we are having the another method to delete the user. Okay, if the user is existed in the database based on the ID of the user, okay, we are going to delete it. Okay, if user is not found in the database, we are throwing global exception. Okay, we are throwing global exception here, remember. Okay, so coming to the update user, okay, we are updating the user details based on the obviously, okay, DTO. If the DTO is satisfied, then we are going to do that. Okay, so and here we are retrieving the specific user details from the database. If the user details is not found with the specific ID, then again we are going to raise global exception which we created here. Okay, this is the global exception that we created, and this type of exception we already created in the, okay, Hibernate, I think so, right? So we already created the global exception in the Hibernate. We are doing the same thing here. Okay, so we are having all these methods now. To consume these methods, we have the controller layer. Okay, here we are having the controller. Okay, so get mapping to retrieve all the list of users. Okay, and here also we are going to delete the user based on the ID of the user. Okay, so user has to pass the ID in the path variable, then only we are going to delete it. Okay, and here we have the update user and update user also. Okay, whenever updating the details of the user, definitely they have to satisfy with the, okay, data validation spot. That's why I am reading the user DTO to validate the user details. Okay, after validating, I can convert the user DTO into the user object in my service layer. Okay, I'm doing that in the service layer, you can see. Okay, I am converting the user object into the, user DTO object into user object by following pattern. Okay, and finally we are having the one method to retrieve the one specific user from the database. Okay, this is the service and controller layer, and especially we have one specific new class, that is, okay, exception handler. Okay, user exception handler. This is the new content for you. This is the new value. Okay, so this particular method is creating to handle the, okay, data validation exceptions. The exceptions which is created in the data validation part is going to, okay, catch here, is going to handle here. Okay, here we have the global exception. We are handling the global exception which is going to create whenever we are trying to delete or whenever we are trying to retrieve the user which is not existed in the database. Okay, so we are handling the exception and we are creating the maps to print the messages in the post map. Okay, so this is the entire code that we created. Okay, is this okay to everyone? If you are not, if you are confusing, please tell me. If you didn't find anything wrong, if you are finding anything wrong, please tell me. We can do it, because I am winding up the data validations concept by now. I am going to start the new concept, which is the Swagger. Okay, just give me a minute. I will update the code in the GitHub so that everybody can have a look on it. Global exception added. Okay, done. The code is updated. Now you can check in the GitHub. Okay, if you are having any issue, please let me know, guys. Anybody having any issue, ma? Click on the controller. Okay, no controller is having more than 3 lines of code, na? That's the beauty. Is the method. We are directly communicating with the repository from service layer or business layer. Okay, we are having new layered architecture here. You can see. Okay, we have the advice, we have the controller, we have the DTO, we have exception, we have model and repository and service. Okay, advice and DTO is newly added. Packages for our application. Okay, and then the remaining everything is similar. In the advice, okay, what is the part of advice, ma? Guys, what is the part of advice package?
Exception handler.
Yes, very good. Exception handler. What is the use of DTO? Someone. What is the use of DTO?
For data validation.
Okay. So what is the difference between DTO and entity? What is the difference between DTO and entity?
Sir, entity creates the table and database,
Mhm.
and DTO validates the data that we feed.
Okay. So very good. This is the entity. Okay. So we are creating the entity annotation to create the table in the obviously the database, and entity must need a ID for sure. Okay, without ID, it is, in the Hibernate, it is impossible to create the table. Okay, every table must has a one primary key. Okay, and coming to the DTO part, where is this DTO? Coming to this DTO part, okay, in the DTO we are not having any entity annotation and we are not having any ID annotation, because in the DTO we are completely validating the data. Okay, so how to convert the DTO object to user object, or how to convert the DTO object to entity? Anyone? How to convert DTO object to the entity? Any guesses, guys? How to convert it? Okay, I'll tell you. Actually, so in the entity, na, so we are going to create a all argument constructor, na. So in the entity for all argument constructor, we can assign a one static name. Okay, by using the static name of the entity, we can convert it. Okay, you can see this is the entity class. By using the static name for the all argument constructor, we are going to convert DTO into the user. You can see how we are performing here. Okay, so you can see user dot build. So build is the static name which is applied for the constructor, all argument constructor, and in the constructor we are reading all the data of the user DTO, by mentioning the their getters, by mentioning their getters. Okay, and here you can see I'm not using the getters and setters because we are using the data annotation. In the data annotation, you can see, if you open the data annotation so in the data annotation you can see, whenever you are using the data annotation, you can get the setter, you can get the getters, and you can get the toString method as well. Okay, you can get all these things by using while using the data attribute. Okay, so sorry, not a data attribute, it's a data annotation. Okay, remember this. Okay, and yeah, that's it. User service layer, user controller, and everything. Okay, is this clear for everyone? I think updated, no? Okay, okay, so please take a look on the coding part. If you are having any doubt, please let me know. Okay, I am giving you 5 minutes of time to review. Okay, at 12:30 we can start the Swagger. Okay, take 5 minutes time to review the code. Everybody, if you are having any doubt, please ask me. Guys, what's happening? Is everything okay? Shall we start Swagger? Okay, you're reviewing still. Very good. Go on, go on. Okay, guys, shall we start Swagger then? Or do you have any issues? अरे यार respond करो.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Start Swagger, sir. If I need doubt, I will inform you, sir.
Yeah, very good, very good. Okay then. Okay. So our next concept is Swagger. So do you know anything about Swagger? Did you hear about this Swagger anywhere? Swagger. Okay. Okay. So generally, so I want to know what is meant by front end and back end. Can you tell me the difference between the front end and back end, guys?
So generally, front end is nothing but a user interface which user can view, and
Okay.
any queries he may enter a query from front end.
Okay.
While back end is storing the data what user entered a query.
Okay.
And if
So
the query is there in backend, then automatically server will help to get the output for user.
okay. Okay. So you're saying that the user interaction, okay, UI designing is nothing but a front end part where user can enter his details to log in or his details to sign up. Okay, so those
sir.
details has to store in the database. That is the part of backend, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the REST APIs, no? We have the REST APIs. Okay, REST APIs is the part of front end or back end? REST APIs is the part of, okay, either front end or back end.
So middleware communicating between front end and back end.
No, we have only front end and back end, na, Ganesha. In the web application, na, we have either front end, back end, and database. That's it. We have three options.
Back end, sir.
Back end, okay. So any
But
other
we
opinions?
can
Tell
in
me.
REST API we can add front end tools also, sir.
Okay.
While Amitabh sir doing in Spring Boot concept return body HTML like same, sir.
Okay.
We can use both front end and back end.
Okay. So yeah, exactly. So generally, okay, when you are communicating with the database by using the REST APIs, then that is a backend. Okay, when you are communicating with any, okay, any front end part, okay, so exactly Ganesha said, okay, when you are writing some HTML code in the front, I mean in the REST APIs, then it is comes to the backend, I mean front end. Okay, so here we have the REST APIs which is communicating with the database. So we are designing completely back-end REST APIs, back-end concept REST APIs. Okay, so here actually when we are developing either Android application or web application or any kind of application, okay, integration of back-end with front-end. Okay, the integration of back-end with front-end is very important. Okay, very important, because okay, we can't ask the user to enter the details in the postman, na? Okay, so we can't ask the, okay, one user to register the Facebook, okay, through the postman. Okay, that's not a professional way. Okay, so if you want to ask the user to register in your, I mean in your website, you need a one good interface. Okay, you can't go with the basic postman, right? So definitely we need to design the front end, I mean UI designing part to consume these REST APIs. Okay, so we need to integrate both front end application along with back end application. Okay, front end application along with back end application. Okay, so coming to the companies, real-time MNC companies. Okay, you are going to develop either backend or you are going to develop either front end. Okay, so you can do only one task in the MNCs, right? So okay, assume you are a front end developer. Okay, so you students are the front end developers. You guys are not aware of, okay, back end. Okay, you know only front end. Okay, okay, so I mean assume that I am the back end developer. Okay, I am the back end developer. Okay, so I told Ganesha, okay Ganesha, these are the REST APIs that I have created, this is the code that I have wrote for the backend, so please create the user interface for this I mean these APIs. Okay, is it possible? No, because Ganesha don't know about the backend, so don't know about the endpoints of the REST APIs. That means, okay, what is the endpoint of the REST APIs? Okay, endpoint of the REST APIs is nothing but the URL which is using. Okay, this is the endpoint of the REST API, right? This is the endpoint of the REST APIs. So, okay, it is possible to create the user interface for 2 or 3 REST APIs by seeing it, but it is impossible to create a interface for 1,000 REST APIs. Okay, it is a hectic task, na? So to understand the endpoints, okay, to see the every line of the code, which is very difficult for Ganesha, because Ganesha is a front-end developer. He doesn't know about the controller, service, exception and all. Okay, so we need to explain all the endpoints to Ganesha. We need to explain all the endpoints to Ganesha. That means we need to explain all the URLs for our REST APIs. Okay, so here I have the 10 REST APIs. Okay, these are the REST API URLs, so you can use them in your front-end application. Okay, so we need to tell to the Ganesha. Okay, so due to some reasons Ganesha left the organization, and somebody like Renu. Okay, so Renu comes to the Ganesha position. Again Renu has to design the front end part for the REST APIs. Okay, again I have to explain Renu about the endpoints. I have to explain Renu about the coding part and all, right? So this is a hectic task to explain every line of the code to the one particular person. Okay, so that's why in the MNC companies, okay, we need a documentation for every REST API. Okay, we need a one proper documentation for our backend service. Okay, so to create a proper backend document, okay, to create a proper backend document, okay, so for example, if you are having a 5 REST APIs, okay, you can create manually. Okay, so if you are having a 5 REST APIs, you can create the manual documentation by typing the content in the MS Word or MS PPT, anything. Okay, but what happen if you are having a 1,000 APIs? Okay, you are going to create a documentation for 1,000 APIs. It is a very hectic task, right? So that's why, okay, we need a one automation tool to create the documentation for our backend. Okay, we need a one automation tool to create the documentation for our REST API endpoints. Okay, that documentation we can create by using this Swagger. Okay, Swagger is the automatic documentation tool for the RESTful APIs endpoints. If you are having a 1,000 REST APIs, okay, you need to create 1,000 endpoints for your application. Okay, so if you have a 1,000 REST APIs, okay, we need to create the 1,000 endpoints, and we need to create the 1,000, okay, documentations, right? So it is a very hectic task to design this number of, okay, endpoints were manually. Okay, so we need a one automation tool to create the documentation for these 1,000 endpoints. Okay, so that automation tool is a Swagger. Okay, Swagger is the automation tool to create the documentation for, okay, REST API endpoints. Okay, is this clear? Swagger is the automatic documentation tool to create the endpoints for the REST API. Okay, so now we are going to add the Swagger in our application. Okay, we are going to add Swagger in our application. Okay, so if you want to create the documentation, obviously we need to use the Swagger and we need to add the dependencies. Okay, we need to add the dependencies of the Swagger. Okay, to work with the Swagger, we have to add Swagger to dependency in our application. Okay, Swagger to Maven dependency application. Okay, so here go to the Google, search for Swagger to Maven dependency. Okay, so here we are using Spring Fox Swagger. Okay, Spring Fox Swagger 2.9.2. Okay, so copy this and paste it in our pom.xml. So here in the pom.xml, paste it. Okay, save this. And we are having some issue. What is this issue? Okay, okay, Swagger 2 dependency is 2.9.2. Okay, version. Okay, now we have to add the Swagger. Okay, now we have to add the Swagger to our application. So to work with Swagger, we need to do three different things. The first one is adding the Swagger dependency in the pom.xml. Then the second important task is enable the Swagger. We have to enable the Swagger. So to enable the Swagger, we have to go to our main file. This is our main class. Here we have to enable the Swagger. So here @enable Swagger. Okay, enable Swagger 2. Okay, so we imported the Swagger 2 only na, so enable Swagger 2. Okay, we are enabling the Swagger 2. Okay, now that's it. Okay, that's it. Okay, and sorry, yeah, I forgot to add one thing in the application properties. Also we have to add one thing, that is here we have to add some path matching. Okay, so path we have to specify spring dot I forgot. Let me check. Spring dot MVC dot path matching strategy, I think so. Okay, let me Google it. Path matching strategy. Yeah, I think this one. MVC path matching strategy we have to add. Where is this? Spring dot MVC dot path match dot matching strategy. Okay, copy this. So I did the same thing, but I have a doubt for a while. Okay, so here we have to use the ant path matcher, ant hyphen path hyphen matcher. Okay, so actually I'll tell you why I am using this. Okay, okay, now we enabled the Swagger in our main file. Okay, we enable the Swagger in the main file. We add the path matching to the application properties, and we added the dependency of Swagger in the application. Okay, we added everything. Now you can just relaunch the application. Okay, now you can relaunch the application. Okay, something is happening. Okay, now you can search for something. Okay, we are not getting anything here. Okay, so in the Postman or in the Google Chrome or anything, Okay, here, okay, so search for API documentation for the Swagger. Okay, so first of all we need to search for 127.0.0.1. Okay, so to get the API documentation, API hyphen docs. Okay, 127 localhost colon 8080 v2 slash API space documentation. Okay, so this is the API documentation. Okay, this is the documentation that we created, you can see. Okay, did you understand anything here? So which is very, horrible, na? It is very horrible to understand, right? So we need to do another thing also. Okay, we added Swagger to our application. We got all the documentation for the Swagger. Okay, we got the all the documentation and everything, we got it, but this is not a valid, this is not in a understandable format. Okay, this is not in a understandable format, you can see. Okay, so here we are having all the things. Okay, username, property, so and so. Okay, we are having so many things we are having, but we don't know everything. Okay, we don't know all these things, right? So we need to do something. Okay, that is, we need to add one user interface to this particular documentation. We need to add one user interface to this documentation. So to add the user interface, okay, you can search for Swagger UI in the this. Search for Swagger UI. Okay, search for this. Okay, Swagger UI. Okay, Spring Fox. Okay, we are using the Spring Fox Swagger only. We have so many, okay, clients to use the Swagger, but use the Spring Fox Swagger only. This is the only official Swagger. Okay, and we are using 2.9.2, right? So here you can select the 2.9.2. Okay, so here you can copy the code and paste it in our pom.xml. Okay, this is the pom.xml. Here we can paste it. Okay, now, okay, so we got the thing. Okay, just to launch the application. Okay, we just relaunch the application. Okay, now we have to search for the Swagger UI. Instead of this documentation of the Swagger, we can search for Swagger UI. Swagger UI.html, I think so. Yes, we got the documentation. Now we can see. Okay, so actually we have the two controllers. Okay, actually we are having the only one controller. You can see the one controller, user controller. In the user controller we are having all these methods, right? So get user ID, okay, add user, delete user, get retrieve the specific user and update the user. These are the endpoints. Okay, so now, okay, I want to retrieve all the users. Okay, I want to retrieve all the users. So retrieve all the users, retrieve. Okay, now here you can have one button called try it out. Okay, you can have one button called try it out. Now just click on this button. Okay, so now you can click on the execute. Okay, executed. Now you can see you will get all the list of users. You will get, see, we are getting all the list of users. Okay, if you want to add one new user, okay, here we have the post, na post, we have to add the user, na. So here, okay, you can try it out. Okay, so when you are going to try it out, here you have to pass the values, na. We have to pass the values, right? So pass the values. Okay, here we have to pass the values. User ID, user email, sorry, Bhaskara with Andeep.org. Okay, user ID is 3 and the username is 3 and the password is Bachi12345. Okay, phone number is 987654310. Okay, this is how we need to do. Okay, Now just execute it. Okay, so actually executed. Now you can see, okay, this is the response body we got. This is the response body we got. Okay, we added the batch in. Now in the MySQL you can see, in the MySQL you can see we are having the batch here. Okay, so okay, if you have a Swagger with you, if you have a Swagger with you, okay, you no need of Postman now. Okay, okay, we can do all these things here only. Okay, so if you want to delete one user, if you want to delete one user, you can use this delete option. Okay, delete user, and here you have to give the ID. Okay, we have to give the ID and all. Actually you can click on the write out. Okay, here you have to give the ID. I want to delete the third person. Okay, execute. Okay, deleted successfully. Who deleted? Third person is deleted. Bachi is deleted. Now you can see Bachi is deleted in the database. Okay, everything that you are performing, the action that you are performing in the Swagger is definitely got updated in the database. Okay, when you are having a Swagger with you, okay, now you no need of Postman with us. Okay, if you want to see the model, you can see the model. Okay, model. Okay, we have the user. Okay, this is the user. Okay, user model, and this is the user DTO. And if you want to see the view, you can see the view. Okay, content type string and model and view. Okay, we have something. Okay, which is a system application. We don't need that. Okay, so here we have the only user model and user DTO. So these are the fields of user model and DTO. Okay, by seeing this particular thing, okay, you can see the basic. Okay, so these are the basic controller options. Okay, basic controller options that you can perform with REST APIs. Okay, actually this is our user controller. Okay, in the user controller we are having 5 APIs, you can see. Okay, in the controller you can see we have the 5 APIs. Okay, we have the 5 APIs. Add user, get user, delete user, update, ID, right? So you are having the same thing. User controller. Okay, if you want to retrieve one specific user, okay, you can click on the write out. Okay, you can see what are the fields required. ID is required to retrieve the user, that is why required is there. And you can see the example values. You will get the values like this. Okay, if the code is 200, you will get the value like this. If code is 401, unauthorized, 403 forbidden, 404 not found. Okay, you will get these kind of things. Okay, so if you want to try, you can try it out. Okay, I am searching for 500, okay, which is not existed. So execute. Let's see what is happening. Okay, you got the exception as user not found with user ID 500. Okay, this is how we have to do okay, if you mention something like 1, okay, execute. Now you can get the 1% value, which is Bhaskara so and so. Okay, so you can get the date, time, connection, and everything you are getting here. Okay, you can download as a, if you want to download, you can download as a JSON value. Okay, so you can see. So here we are having the JSON value. Okay, to work with the JSON value, you need to open this in the Notepad++ or Notepad also. Okay, so you can see this value we got. This is the response we got from the server. Okay, so this is the Swagger UI. Okay, by doing just 3 simple tasks, we can create the documentation. Okay, this is the Swagger documentation. If you want to visit the raw document, you can click here. You can visit the raw document, and to apply UI, to apply user interface to this raw document, we are adding Swagger UI. Okay, guys, is this clear? This is the Swagger. Okay, to open the Swagger now, if you want to open the Swagger, you have to do, okay, you have to search for 127 dot or localhost /8080 / Okay, swagger ui.html. Okay, you can search for this link. Okay, you will get the value, you will get the all the documentation for your application. Okay, so to work with this swagger ui, you have to add two things in the pom.xml. That is, okay, that is, I mean, a swagger dependency and a swagger UI dependency in the pom.xml. And I think in the application dot properties, let's remove this. Okay, try to remove this, and I try to minimize the code as much as possible. Okay, so let's see it will work or not. Even removing the, oh yeah, you got it. See, okay, if we remove the application properties line, okay, so definitely it will raise an issue because, okay, documentation needed, path pair. Okay, we need to add the path request, so that's why, okay, just add the path request. Okay, you need to add this MVC path matching. Okay, save this and relaunch this. Okay, now it is working. Now you can go back to your post, I mean, sorry, go back to your application. So here, okay, in the Google, search for localhost 8080/swaggerui.html. Okay, slash. Okay, why, sorry, I added the slash here. Okay, this is the documentation. Okay, here we have the user controller. In the user controller, these are all the methods that we have: user update, user add, user retrieve, user delete. Okay, get user, try it out, and here you have to pass the id 1 and execute. Okay, we got the user. So if you want to try to add the user, you can click on the add user post method. So here you can click on the try it out. Here in the example value, we have to pass the data. Okay, example at gmail.com. Okay, user id 3, username is example, and user password is ex@1234, and the phone number is 0123456789. Okay, and click on the execute. Okay, it is executed successfully. Now you can search for the data in the your SQL. We got the example here. Okay, so this is how we have to work with the, okay, the swagger UI, the documentation. Okay, these are the endpoints. Okay, these are the endpoints of the swagger. Okay, this is the requested URL. You can see the request URL. Okay, by seeing this documentation, okay, anybody can understand what is it. Okay, the developers can easily understand the thing. Okay, so it can maintain. If you add any other API, na, it will do. Okay, for example, okay, I am going to write one API, one basic API. Okay, to wish the user. Okay, so which is hello, hello, hello. Okay, so here we can send a string. Hello, welcome to Swagger. Hello, welcome to Swagger. Okay, so just relaunch the application. Okay, now go back to the Swagger, just refresh it. Okay, now you can see the user control. Now you can see we are having hello method. Okay, so this Swagger can update the value automatically. Okay, if you add anything in the code now, if you add anything in the controller, it can update automatically. Okay, but if you write this UI, if you design this UI manually, we have to write every method manually. Okay, if you do some changes in the controller, you have to do the changes in the UI also. But when you are having the Swagger, it can do the changes automatically. You can try it out and execute it, and you will get the response, hello, welcome to Swagger. Okay, this is how we need to work. Okay, is this clear, guys? So just I did the only one, I mean three things. Okay, I added I added the dependencies in the pom.xml. Okay, these two dependencies, Spring Fox, Spring Swagger 2, and Spring Fox Swagger UI. Okay, Swagger UI, and I added one property for the path matching in the application properties, and in the main file, in the main application, I enabled the Swagger. That's it. I enabled the Swagger. That's it. Okay, after enabling the Swagger, we got the Swagger. Okay, what is the URL to access the Swagger? Okay, the URL to access the Swagger is this one. Okay, that's simple. It is very simple. Okay, guys, any doubt? Any clear? Anybody having any doubt here?
No,
Why so
sir.
silence? It's clear now for everyone.
Sir,
Yes,
once
sir.
we
Tell me.
Sir, once we what Swagger dependency injected to a Spring Boot, then we didn't use any Postman, sir. Is this okay? Means we easily used Swagger UI.
Yeah, no need to use the Postman. Swagger is the replacement of Postman, Ganesha.
Okay.
Okay, so you can do all the things which you are performing the Postman only in the Swagger, na? Okay, so by using your application, you can do only these actions in your Postman, and you are doing the same thing. Okay, literally Swagger is the replacement of Postman, that we can say.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, so we can work with the Swagger by using three different steps. One is updating pom.xml, and updating the application properties, and enabling the Swagger in the main application. That's it, you are done. Okay, this is the simplest way. This is the simplest way to work with Swagger. Okay, yes, yeah, that's it. That's about the thing. If you are having any doubts, you can ask me, and let me update the code in the Git. Swagger is added, and what can you do? Push it. Push origin master. That's it. We are done. Okay, let's go to the GitHub. Let's see whether it is implemented or not. Spring data validations updated 19 seconds ago. Okay, Swagger is added. Pom.xml is updated, and this one is updated. Okay. Where is the main? This is the main. You can see the main. In the main, I enabled the Swagger. That's it. That's simple. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's about the class, guys. If you are having any doubt, you can ask me now. So, do we need to add anything else? Shall we discuss Spring security now, or we can wind up? Today we discussed the data validations and Swagger. Okay, if you are willing, I can go with the basic security concept. Otherwise, I can wind up. Rupa, Priyanshu, Ganesha is okay. Sahana, Renu, I'm
Yes,
not
sir.
getting any
Sir, it's
response.
okay.
Yes, sir. It's okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Okay, shall we continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, Rupa, tell me.
No, sir. Actually, if we do a lot now, then while practicing, we skip some parts. So
Yeah.
please wind up.
Mm, okay. So I can wind up the session, but you need to promise me one thing. Okay. So you have to complete the data validations and the Swagger by the end of the day, and you have to send me the GitHub link.
Yes, sir, for sure.
Yes, sir.
For everyone, I need a confirmation.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So right now we are having 22 people in the class. Okay. So okay. So I'm expecting at least 16 responses from the class. Okay. You have to complete the data validations part by today. Okay. So I think some people joined in the late now. So please tell your names. I can add the attendance.
Preeti sir.
Preeti, I think we added already. Kaneshka informed me.
Sir Paras.
Paras. Okay. Preeti, where is Preeti? Okay, I marked as present.
Sir, Sandeep.
Sandeep, you're there? Oh.
Sir was also present yesterday.
Okay. Joined late, na?
Yes, sir.
Did I miss anyone? Anyone missed the attendance? And here? I think that's it, no? Sahana, yeah, that, okay. Okay. I think that's it. Astos, do you have any doubt? You joined 2 times. That means you joined through laptop as well. Any doubts, Astos?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay then. Okay. So please complete the task. Okay. You have to complete the data validations and everything. Okay. Chalo. By the end of the day, I need the project at any cost. Okay. Bye.